Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to this episode of Happiness After Codependency. I'm Marshall Berkshire, and I'm your guide into knowing, loving, living, and even trusting who you are, which are the steps we take in order to liberate ourselves from codependency and live life based on who we are, based on what brings us joy and well-being and our happiness. So that's what we're doing today. Today we have episode number 3 of the reinforcement training series, so we can go back and talk about topics and concepts and so forth that I've discussed previously as a reinforcement, as a way of getting back to center in our healing work and in our post-codependency life. So today, in episode number 3, we're going to talk about what to do when you're trying to prove yourself, what this impulse to perform is about. So before we get to that, I'm going to share this out to the community here real quick. The community is a safe haven here on the internet. It's a Facebook community where you can find tools, guidance, and support in your own journey in healing codependency. Please make sure that you review the rules before joining, because we have pretty strict policies about what is and what is not allowed to be discussed, and how we communicate with each other, how we support each other, because that allows us to develop the healthy skills we need in order to do these things in a healthy way. Link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and on my front page at freetheself.com. And if you're listening via YouTube, hit that subscribe button and share. Guys, remember to share this video out to people you know will benefit from it. All right, so I'm going to get this shared out real quick to the community, and there we go. Okay, so reinforcing your healing, episode number 3, what to do when you're trying to prove your worth. So where does this impulse come from? Where I feel like if I'm in my codependency, I need to prove that I'm worthy. I need to do more. I've got to be as good as them, or I have to be the best. I have to be better than others, or I'm not going to be seen. I'm not going to be valued. I'm going to be invisible. I'm not going to be chosen. I'm going to be forgotten. I'm not going to be enough. These are the things that often drive performance in a lot of codependents. If we are a workaholic, if we are always having to do something, we feel this anxiety in our body when we are not doing something, we're not performing, we're not busy, we're not productive, that kind of thing. It's all being motivated by this fear that we won't be valued, we won't be enough, we'll be invisible, we won't be chosen, we won't be seen, we won't be valued. And these are natural needs we have. We have a need for attention, to be seen, to be recognized, to be acknowledged, to be real to someone else. We have a need to be valued, that people value our time, our presence, our skills, our contributions, our beingness in their world. We have needs around being useful. I mean, our intrinsic value is not attached to usefulness, but we do have what I call functional value in life. And that is, what do I do that contributes to the world? What do others do that contribute to my world? So how am I contributing to theirs? How are they contributing to mine? And what's that like for me? Is that satisfying to do? Is that a reciprocally satisfying experience? Things like that. We need purpose. We need direction as human beings. And that's where that functional usefulness or functional value shows up. These kinds of needs, again, are natural. And the reason they're really allowed and alive and energized in our nervous system, in our bodies, is because they're unmet. Anytime I find myself trying to prove myself, trying to perform, trying to do more, to do better, because if I don't, I won't get X, Y, or Z in my life, that's telling me that my need for value, my need for safety and reassurance, my need for connection and belonging are undermet. And I need to turn inward and start caring for the aspect of myself that is expressing that need. Because a lot of times in codependency, it's our inner children, our inner selves that are unmet and unseen. And then they're running the bus, they're running the show, trying to get seen and valued and connected to by doing big displays, big performance things with other people. So let me know if this resonates with you in the comments below. Because for a lot of us, this is where we have found our value. Oh, I do this thing well. Now I've got to keep doing it or people will forget me. They won't care about me. I won't exist. I won't matter in their world. I won't matter at all. So when this is showing up in your world, that is the key indicator that these needs are undermet. So how do we meet them? How do we care for these needs? Well, first of all, the first step in this is to acknowledge the need. Acknowledge what it feels like in your body, what you're experiencing here, what level of safety you're experiencing, what level of connection and identity that are going on. That brings us back to those three necessities we all have, which is identity, or safety, connection, and identity. How are those functioning? Am I referencing myself in my work? Am I connected to my body? Am I connected to my emotional experience in what I'm doing and who I am being? Am I acknowledging how I am seen and valued by others? Because sometimes in our healing journey, we have a blind spot in how others value us, because maybe we are surrounded by friends or supportive relationships where people value and care about us, but because they're not that one special person, they're not that particular relationship, we ignore it. We minimize the value of that. And our work here is to learn how to receive what we are receiving, what we're being given, and appreciate that and allow it to land, allow ourselves to value it, to digest it, to experience it. That's one thing we can do. There's like, oh, well, these people are loving me and valuing me and respecting me. They see me. So I'm going to let myself open up just a little bit to receiving that and seeing what that feels like. This is where we start to create a reinforcement practice of connection. We talk about that a fair bit in the nurture trainings that are part of the happiness after codependency system. Really important component to helping build out our mental and emotional awareness of the connections we do have and share in the world. So we need to do that. We also need to soothe the anxiety and panic we might be feeling at the idea of not existing in other people's worlds or not having value. Because a lot of times that's where our big survival responses kick into gear, where we feel anxious, we feel fearful about not existing and that we're going to get harmed or even possibly not exist or die in this experience. So we'll start to either fight, which is our performance aspect. I'm going to do more. We might flee. So we'll just not do these things. We'll run away from the responsibilities. We'll stop acting on them. We could freeze or we could fawn. Fawning was where we really get into the people-pleasing aspect. We try to become more of what we think people want so that they'll see us and value us. Really important to watch what we're doing here. So if we regulate our nervous system's distress, we bring in some soothing to these things, then we can get better oriented as to what's really going on so we can assess those connections and what's happening in our world. And then we can also regulate our connection to our innate value. Now, in the upcoming 5-day workshop that starts here this coming Monday, I'm going to teach you how to soothe the nervous system and how to care for and nurture our innate value. So you get these 2 of the 4 primary practices here in healing codependency, which will help lower our need to perform in order to have value. Okay? In addition to this, when we are regulating our value, then we step into the arena of trusting ourselves a little more, trusting our value, trusting our personage, meaning my existence, my physical being, trusting that it has worth, trusting that what I do makes a difference in people's worlds, and acknowledging the impact that people reflect back to me that they're experiencing, that then validates or builds in that trust. Because we want evidence to back up the trust. We just don't want blind trust alone in that. These are ways in which we begin to cultivate our sense of connection, belonging, and social or functional value in the world while protecting and nurturing our own sense of innate value. This helps relieve and disengage this impulse to perform, to prove ourselves. And instead, rather than proving ourselves, we end up sharing ourselves based on what brings us joy, what is inspired within us to be, do, and have. So now we're not seeking people to like us and love us. Instead, we are sharing ourselves and then acknowledging how we're received by others, and then building connection with those that receive us in a way that we want to be received in and that we want to have connection with. So this is how we deal with that impulse to prove ourselves and perform. First, we regulate our nervous system to stress. Second, we observe and acknowledge the connections we have and the impacts we're having on people and how we belong as a person. 3, we cultivate and nurture that innate value. And 4, we build trust in our own intrinsic value and the impact we have in people's lives. So that's today's training, guys. Pretty short one. So there you go. Come and join us for the 5-day workshop, 5-day Freedom from Codependency Workshop. Specifically, it starts this coming Monday. You can join for free for the live classes, or you can buy the recordings for $47. This round, it's going to go up to $97 next round. The link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube. And if you're watching via YouTube, hit that subscribe button. My friends, thank you for being here. Go gently with yourselves, and I'll see you guys in our next episode. Bye-bye.